Good afternoon. I just want to thank, first of all, the organizers of this conference and the great team. If we could have a round of applause for Sandy and her team. What an outstanding day, right, folks? You know, I also want to thank Jesse and Lydia as well. Amazing individuals, and Jesse, thank you so much for your authenticity and for the great advice. So, good morning to all of you and everyone, and welcome to the third annual Beautiful Mind Conference here at the University of Michigan. I have to say that it is a true pleasure to stand before you today and to introduce someone who represents leadership, perseverance, and excellence in our community. Our keynote speaker, Miss Jessica Wynne. Jessica is the daughter of Jonathan Wynne and Valerie Tibbs Wynne, and born in Detroit, and she was raised here in Ann Arbor. Jessica grew up a curious, driven young woman alongside three remarkable siblings. And from the very beginning, it was clear that she had something special: intelligence, determination, and a natural ability to inspire those around her. Jessica attended Ann Arbor Pioneer High School, where, believe it or not, I had the privilege of knowing her personally. Jessica and I were classmates, and we were both varsity athletes. And we were parts of a generation of pioneers who took pride in representing our school with energy and spirit. You know, one of my favorite memories was the legendary Pioneer Hype Squad. Yes, at the year-end pep rally. We were both a part of that, and Jessica served as the MC, commanding the stage with confidence, humor, and, as always, that special charisma. You know, even back then, she had a gift for bringing people together and energizing a crowd, and talents that would later make her an incredible leader, educator, coach, and influencer. And what makes today special and meaningful for me is that our connection did not end in high school. Life has brought us full circle here at the University of Michigan, where I have had the privilege of working alongside Jessica through the University of Michigan Adaptive Sports and Fitness program. To reconnect years later has not just been a great asset to me, but it has been a great honor to be able to make a difference with her in our community, and it has truly been special. I have seen firsthand the same qualities Jessica had as a student athlete at Pioneer that have now elevated her even further. Her passion, her leadership, and her compassion, and her unwavering commitment to others. After high school, Jessica continued her journey at the University of Michigan, where she excelled both academically and athletically. She was a member of the varsity women's basketball team, demonstrating grit, discipline, and teamwork at the highest level. And at the same time, she performed in the iconic Michigan Marching Band, a rare combination of athleticism, artistry, and of course, Wolverine pride. She earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology with a minor in Native American and Indigenous Studies, reflecting her deep interest in people, culture, and understanding with the world around her. Jessica then took her talents to New York City, where she joined the New York Teaching Fellows. And there she earned a Master's of Science in Education, teaching middle school students and paving the way once again to service for others and understanding and being an example that scholarship can go hand in hand. Today, Jessica serves as the head coach of the University of Michigan wheelchair basketball team, now in her 5th season. And under her leadership, athletes are not only developing as competitors, they are growing as leaders, teammates, and confident individuals ready to thrive in every area of life. As someone who supports the Adaptive Sports and Fitness program and serves on the advisory board, I can personally tell you that Jessica leads with both excellence and empathy. She raises standards while also raising people up. And in February of 2025, Jessica and her team made history at the legendary Chrysler Center. The Michigan wheelchair basketball team hosted its first ever game and defeated Michigan State University 51-42 before a record-setting crowd. Yes, that's right. Before a record-setting crowd of 3,120 spectators, the largest ever in history for a wheelchair basketball game. You know, I had the honor of serving as the announcer for that historic event, which made the moment even more meaningful. And to watch Jessica, someone I knew as a standout leader in high school, now guiding a program onto one of the biggest stages in college athletics, was nothing short of inspiring. It was a full circle moment for me that I will never forget. That game was about much more than the scoreboard. It was about visibility. It was about opportunity, inclusion, and excellence. And Jessica was at the center of it all. Outside of coaching, Jessica is also living her dream as a dedicated mother to her 10-year-old twins. And she spends her time traveling the world, playing music, and always seeking higher ground. A phrase that perfectly captures the way she lives her life. She is always striving upward and always learning, always lifting others along the way. That is why Jessica Wynne is the perfect keynote speaker for the Beautiful Minds Conference. Because a beautiful mind is not just defined only by the intelligence. It's defined by the heart. It's defined by courage. It's defined by resilience. It's defined by creativity and by the ability to see possibilities where others see limitations. Jessica Wynne embodies all of these things. So today, please join me in giving me a warm, enthusiastic, and a well-deserved welcome to my former classmate and to our valued colleague, friend, and an extraordinary leader, Miss Jessica Wynne.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I start every practice by saying thank you for being here. Sorry, let me tell you, first of all, I just got back from Colorado. Anybody been to Colorado before? So I was not aware of the elevation type thing. So later when you hear my story, especially about like my lungs, you're gonna be like, oh, I get why she's talking that way. This is not me being like super emotional. I am emotional, but not like this. Oh, y'all got, okay. I like the photos, those are nice. Thank y'all for being here, for real. It means a lot. I know y'all are hungry. Obviously you heard I'm a coach, so first thing I'm gonna do is make you do something just because I need to move. You don't have to move, but I have an activity for you. Do we agree, disagree? Okay, good, mandatory fun. Okay, I have a challenge for you. The challenge is, first of all, you can't move. You can, like if you're walking, you can keep moving, but like you can't move to do the challenge. The challenge is, as a team, we need to know 4 people's names who are sitting in the back tables of the room, and they need to come to the front tables of the room, but you can't move and you can't yell. Okay, ready? Figure it out. You have 1 minute and 1 second, go. All right, we have them? No, we do? Okay, what are they?
We have Chris, Heidi, Sandy, and Melissa.
Let's fact check. Chris, where are you? How you doing today? Oh, it's you, Chris. Hi, Chris. Heidi? You indeed are. How are you? Good. Sandy? Hi, Sandy. How are you? And Melissa? You are in the back. The same table. That was a really smart move. All right. Give yourself some snaps for that. Very nice. How do we figure that out? We just did it. I love that. I can leave now. That's it. Anything else? Teamwork? Okay. Yeah. You do know. Yes? Right. So I heard like a little bit of prior knowledge, plus you're intently listening and paying attention, communication. Say it again? Chained communication, excellent, right? So maybe you can't hear, but you heard what someone else heard, and they're passing that, we're trusting that forward. Everything that you just did is literally what I do for a living. And so anything I'm gonna tell you today about fostering community, you obviously already know how to do. And so the reason why I want to start with that is because sometimes we get asked to speak. Mind you, this is my first keynote speech, so so this may be the wrong thing to say. I don't know what I'm talking about more than you do. The only reason you'll think I know what I'm talking about is because it resonates with you, and if it resonates with you, that means you already knew it. And if you disagree, then I'm rubbing something that is questioning something that you may believe, and that's also okay. So when you walk away from this, or roll away from this, or stay here, I don't know what you're about to do, please do not give so much grace to the people that are speaking that you don't give that within yourself, because you could very well be here. Zach, you did a great job of saying all those things, but when I wrote Who Am I literally have 3 words. I'm just Jessica, and that's the truth. And so when I think about like neurodivergence in your mind being beautiful, the only reason mine is because yours is. That's the real truth. And so this is a safe space, especially I see a lot of people that are like neuro-fresh in here. But the world is not a safe space for us. Our workplaces are not always safe spaces. Our homes are not always safe spaces. So I want to make sure that we make it a safe space when we leave here by you believing yourself as much as somebody else can come up here and tell you. Good? All right, sweet. Sorry, I feel like I forced that on you, but it's just how I was feeling right now. All right, I'll be honest, I chose not to use slides today because I've been overstimulated for like 3 weeks. So if that helps you, I will make some for you later. You can come talk to me, but I went back and forth about it, and that's part of how, I don't apologize, that's how my brain works. Sometimes I can organize things that way, sometimes I can't. So you'll have to make a mind movie today if that works for you, and I hope that's all right. The other thing I guess I could say is they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but hopefully 1,000 words is worth a picture that you can make for yourself. You like that one? All right, thanks. I just made it up right back there, like 5 minutes ago. All right, I'm gonna start with how I knew I was neurodivergent. My mom was watching this and she's probably like just shaking her head. So hi, Mom. My sisters too. I was the kid who, I was in a first, second grade split class with my sister, and the teacher made sure to keep telling my mom she is nothing like her older sister. And I realized that wasn't a compliment all the time. So that's how I knew. That was one. Another is you get A's and B's and C's and D's, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4. So a 1 is like an A in citizenship. I got like all A's and all 3s. So I don't know how you fail citizenship. But I was a really good student, but I was like, you know, always questioning whatever the teacher was saying. I got sent to this place called the Student Planning Center where you had to make a plan to return. And I got so good at being there that I really loved like conflict resolution later. They thought I was the conflict, but truly I just wanted to learn. I was the most curious kid. And the lady who was there happened to be a mom that knew me because I knew her kid. So she enjoyed having me, but I spent a lot of time there. But somehow got my homework done, so that was also good for me to know. I was raised in church. My dad's a preacher. I moved around so much, they started putting me on the camera crew. So because when they broadcast it live, you just see me moving. And so I got invited to get behind the camera to capture the service. And I thought it was like, oh, my talent. But I think it was just because I would not stop moving. So that's another way that I knew. Another way that I knew is I had a friend well, we're not friends anymore, but that's another story. I had a friend in college, I should not have said that, in college who we both had the same major. College is new, and I remember one day we were going to the Ugly, which is the undergraduate library. Go Blue, yes. And I remember we're studying, well, he was studying, and I was like falling asleep, and it got to the point where he was like, you're always sleeping, but you get the same grades that I get or better. And this frustration, and I was like, oh, this is why we're not gonna be friends. Like, you know, we're not working together, we're competing, and I didn't know. And what he didn't see was all the time that I sat in class, and when the preacher, pretty much. When the professor was telling me the information, I was memorizing it and I was reading it and repeating every sentence in my mind 4, 5, 6 times. All he saw was I was sleepy in a library that was quiet and dusty and like, like late at night. And watching those types of relationships break down because we were different, that helped me again to understand I'm just different and that's all right. I think one of the last ways that I knew is lately when I talk to people, they'll be like wondering how old I am because they're like, how many lives have you lived? How many things have you done? And I don't think it's like a matter of like moisturizing and lotion. I think it's about like, you know, when you are neurodivergent the way I am and you're so busy, sometimes you'll do these lovely, lovely jobs and it doesn't work out because people don't see how you fit and what they've seen before. Or you try all these different things because you're trying to figure out what works. My parents put me in a lot of activities from a young age because I was a busybody. And now, joke's on them, I have all these talents. But it's because they kept putting me in things to try to help me. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'm not ungrateful. And to that, I'll say favor ain't fair. That's just the way it is. I know you know. And also, not all valleys are visible from peaks. And so as much as it may sound good and my bio sounds nice, the lowest lows that I have and the struggles that I have are much, much wider and more vast. And that's what propels me. God really propels me to be able to do a lot of things. But if you're like me, you know there's a big roller coaster. So I want to share that as well, because we're not going to talk about all those things today. We talk about all the nice things, but it is really, really difficult to be someone who sees myself not always fitting and have to always carve a path. It's not easy. Okay, so what do? I wake up every day and I give people my personal opinion on how to work together in order to put an orange ball in a hoop. It is that simple. Truly. We play a child's game. I stand on the side, I rant, and I get excited, and I just watch people roll around in a sports chair on a court and try to put that orange ball in a hoop more than the other team wearing different colored shirts. It's nothing more than that. Truly. In other words, I'm a coach. My job is to temper the group when the ball goes in. I try to make sure that everyone's ego stays on a similar level. I manage the climate when people are not happy that the ball's not going in the hoop. I light controlled fires when our team loses our spark. I make a lot of mistakes, which I think is why I'm getting pretty good at my job. The reason why I do it is because I advocate for people with disabilities, whether you can see mine or not. I had played basketball, like Zach told you. I'm still a little nice. I got a little game still. But, my journey changed because of my health. So long story short, I found out that my lungs randomly collapsed. Very interesting. But devastating for me because I started in Ann Arbor as a ball kid for the women's team. I was that kid, just tiny, watching those women play, and I was just so fascinated. Something about the sound of the ball that I got to hear when class wasn't working out well for me or when I was too overstimulated, that was my way to be able to find some sort of consistency, because the sound of the net is always the same when you shoot it well. That's the thing that was like, I can always make that happen. That dribbling ball, that's something that, not I can control, but that's something I can try to replicate that sound. It was music for me. It's a language, if you will, and I've learned to speak it fluently. And so not being able to play basketball opened up a different part of my mind. Okay, well, who else am I? What else can I do? Fast forward later in my life where I meet Dr. O, and Dr. O is telling me about, I know so many people are nodding. He knows everybody. I'm telling you, if you don't know Dr. O, just give yourself a day. Now I'm sure you'll run into somebody who knows him. He was telling me about his idea and his vision for adaptive sports and fitness, and he told me about wheelchair basketball, and I was, what is that? I don't know what that is, but I'll come volunteer, and that's how I started. I started to volunteer. I started by saying, I don't do this anymore, but I'll rebound for somebody else. I'll go get the ball for somebody else who wants to do it. And my entire idea was, it would be so cool to watch somebody else enjoy this world that I used to like. And so I know a lot of us have heard, like, if you love something, let it go. But I'll encourage you, if you love something, be willing to let it back in. Because if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be where I am. So I appreciate Dr. O very much, and all the people who've come before me in the world of wheelchair basketball. As someone who's temporarily able-bodied, it is very peculiar for me to be in this industry. And I say temporarily because that's a community any of us can join at any time if you're not already there. It has been amazing for me to learn, unpack my own ableism every day. I'm working on it. I think about it, put it in the front of my mind, try to re-see the world, and also be present in where the world is right now. So I'm very, very fortunate to get to advocate for others and make community in a community that I thought, well, I don't really belong there. That's not really my thing. Or people question me, well, why do you do wheelchair basketball? Why aren't you coaching NCAA women's? Like, oh yeah, you want me to just call Dawn Staley and tell her I'll get on the, Dawn, don't call, but if you do, call. This whole job of mine and this career is really about advocating for people to be included. And so when I think about how I am inside my mind for the the neurodiverse person that I am, it's the same thing that I want, is just to be able to be included without trying to be like you. And so I see that every day with wheelchair basketball. So it's a great way to do the same thing that I'm doing, but do it for someone else, not for my own gain. Hopefully you can follow this. It's gonna be scattered brilliance, I think, by the time I'm done. It's not gonna make sense till the very end. So I told you all I'm gonna come here and tell you how I foster belonging. So now that you know who I am and what I do, as a coach, every single player is different. And I hope you take this to your own life, right? Extrapolate it. My dad likes to say, eat the meat and spit the bones. If you don't like what I'm saying, just take what you can take and go on from there. I have players who will come to me and ask me to shapeshift and say, Coach, listen, you gotta yell at me. You gotta really, really, really be firm. You really have to just, that's what I respond to. And there's two things I say to that. Number one, as a Black woman coaching, I have to be very careful with the way I talk to you. I'll be very, very real. Because me not being angry, me being passionate, it's not the same risk. And I say that with my full chest, right? And I'm also not gonna be someone that I'm not. But I also understand their request of like, Coach, it doesn't help me if you're too soft on me. It doesn't help me if you don't really push me to my limit. And my response to them is, if you're pushing yourself to your limit, I can nudge you and we'll still get there. So part of what I do to foster belonging is be understanding. And so I'll pull one player, I won't say who it is, but he'll know if he's listening. I'll pull this player in and I'll say, listen, all right, action. Because I have to be someone else. It's not really who I am. And then it's full on like Oscar moment, right? Like just him and I on the sidelines. And he goes out there and I don't know, I won't take credit for it, but I've seen him do some spectacular things after we have these like, fostered interactions and these kind of drummed up interactions where I have to be this different type of coach. Now, mind you, there's someone 2 places down on the bench that if I ever did that to them, I think the entire world would crash because they're like, they would take it differently. And for them, I whisper, I smile, I will just like, say whatever new things are trending on TikTok or whatever to them to make sure they feel good, right? View the birthday, whatever I have to say to them. And it works. And so part of building community is being willing to morph as long as it doesn't compromise who you are. So wherever you are, if it's asking you to not be yourself, don't do that. But if you're asking me to bend so that we both don't break and we both can succeed and to our common goal that we agreed to together, putting this orange ball inside this hoop, absolutely we can both do that. Because they're also bending. I let them know all the time, this is who I really am, right? It's gonna be a little scattered, it's gonna be all over the place. We will get there. I won't know how we get to the end, but it will make sense in the end, and I need them to trust that. And I can't be someone else who comes in very, very rigid and very, very like unwilling to be creative. That's just not me. Now I do adjust because sometimes, again, I can't ask people to do something that I'm not willing to do. So as a coach, I find myself doing that. But morphing has really, really helped me to make community. You realize everybody can stretch themselves at some point. And I hope you all find ways to do that today. If you are like anti-people, maybe be like one person today. I don't like to eat with people just because I don't like people watching me chew. So this is not like stay away from me after this. But today I might sit with some people. You never know, right? Find ways that are safe. Again, it has to be safe, right? If it's unsafe, don't do it. But if it's safe for you, go ahead and find ways to really, really stretch. I want to talk about teams for a second. When I think about teams, this image came in my mind of a puzzle. My sister's a big puzzler. Hi, Jordan. When I think about puzzles, which I don't really know how to do and understand why people spend so much time, because I feel like you bought a mess and you're going to fix the mess and take the mess apart, put it back in the box. It's very strange to me. Not judging for the puzzle people, I'm sorry. But the way I saw this picture in my mind of a team is you build the outside bar, right? What is it called? The frame, right? You build the frame. And then you drop those pieces on the inside. And I think about all those voids are things that you know you need, or what you would recruit, or who you would want with you, or skills that you have, or resources. We all need resources, right? Resources that you need. And slowly but surely, when it starts to come together, you could run the risk of losing the value of every single piece that was already there, especially when you only need a couple more left. And you don't realize that one piece that's under the couch that you can't find is just as valuable as that corner piece. And so for teams, I'd like you to think about those things. Think about that puzzle. And then once you've put that entire puzzle together, cringe, I know the puzzle people are gonna hate me for this, but take the border off. Then imagine in your own mind, what would happen if you zoomed in or zoomed out of that photo? If it was even bigger? What if the artist didn't cut out the edges? What if there was actually more than you can see? And to me, that is what a team is. That's what it looks like to have a community and have a group, right? We have a structure, we have a vision, we fill it in, and then we take all of the limitations off and see how it could be even bigger. I think you do something really crazy and take a puzzle from another thing and start adding those pieces on, but I don't know if that really is like something that you can do, but it'd be a little strange. Thank you if you just got what I meant. Takes a second. All right, so I gotta ask you, you don't have to answer aloud because I know y'all are here with people you work with. Do you always feel like, I know, I'm gonna say some things, but you know, too late, Sandy. She trusts me. Do you always feel like you're a part of your community? Do you always feel like people want you to belong? Do this to me if you need me, talk to me afterwards. Oh, wow, a lot of you. Let's do better, human beings. Let's do better, right? So many of you have this look in your face like, Are you always making people feel a part of the community? Are you always making sure that people belong? My answer is no. I do a terrible job on a lot of days. But I try to reconcile that by saying, hey, let's have a conversation. Let me assume, I heard earlier, assume competence. That's fantastic, it's phenomenal, right? I'm gonna assume you're competent. And maybe I'll say it to myself in a petty way. I'm gonna assume you're competent and not just trying to get on my nerves, right? I'm gonna assume that you just, that you know better and this is just the way you communicate. I'll assume your neurodivergence, right? We don't wanna throw that around like a target at people, but maybe. I told y'all I'm unhinged, but I'm sorry. You know, we have the power to make sure that we can make sure people are wanted. And wherever you are, I'll ask that when you leave here, you don't just want people's roles, you want that person in that role. We don't just want the job done, we want you for who you are as you are. And maybe this sounds like your personal life and less about work, but that's also true. Like you want people to feel like we needed you to be here, and yes, someone else could do the job, but it won't be like you, and we're happy about that. That's something I think about often. My biggest fear as a coach is that I'll run into someone years later who will hate basketball because of me. That terrifies me. It makes me like close conversations. It makes me bend, honestly, a little bit more than I want to, because how dare I remove that passion from someone because of my own desire. I also encourage any of my players, if you're watching this, if I'm making you feel this way, please text me today. I really mean that, because it literally keeps me up at night. But I also I guarantee that I will be a force to be reckoned with if someone does that for me, because I absolutely deserve to be here, and I love to be here as I am. So I encourage you to play within those two spaces, right? Allow yourself to be there, allow yourself to be able to do what you love, but allow others to be present in that space as well. I'm gonna give you some awkward silence so you can sit with that for a second. Hashtag I'm also scrolling to look for the next thing I wanna say. But you see, if I didn't say that, you would think I was being really deep. All right. I can see my mom's face right now. All right. I'll leave you with a couple of things, right? One-liners, if you will. How do you foster belonging? Gratitude. Be grateful that people even showed up. I'm grateful that you all showed up. I would love it. I would say the same stuff if there's one person here, but this makes me feel so seen. I appreciate you. Everyone else that was talking, I felt like you were talking right to me. Thank you for being here. If you're in the hallway giving people bricks, thank you for giving people bricks. Like whatever it is that you're doing here, thank you. If no one's told you today, I appreciate you being here. And that is a daily thing. I start every practice with that, and I end every practice with that, because I need that reminder myself, is that when things aren't going well and we're not putting that ball in the hoop, at the very least they showed up today and they gave their best that they had for today, and I have to honor that. Without the players, I don't have a team. Without the referees, this one hurts. The game is not valid. Without the table crew and the people who take stats, nothing is recorded. There are many people that are working to keep the system moving, and I ask that you do the same wherever you are. We don't just need people in roles, we need people to feel wanted in those roles. When people feel that they are chosen and not just assigned, they feel free. Some people are here in their jobs, but every day are going into their jobs constantly feeling like they are re-interviewing for what they already have as a job. I'm gonna say it again. Some people are here in their jobs, and you constantly feel like you are re-interviewing for the job that you already have because you don't have a sense of belonging. When belonging is missing, that's what it feels like. And when you see the symptoms of that, of people pulling away or pushing away, or maybe yourself closing in, that's a belonging issue, and you deserve to take up space. That's a part of your wellness. Ways that we can support one another is be coachable. I've had to always allow players to change me for the better because I've needed to change. I need to grow. I want to be so much better. And so the truth of the matter is your players and your team knows you way better than you think you do, especially if you're in leadership. They know you very well. They know your habits. They sit around the coffee table talking about them. They talk behind your back. They talk in front of your face. They whisper in the side of your ear. I'm being really honest. And it's not all bad things. People say great things behind your back. You have to know that as well. But people know you. You are known. That's not the same as belonging. The belonging piece is a choice. And so I'd encourage all of us to make sure that we can belong. I have a player who's new, and all season, he's a yes coach kind of guy. Yes coach, yes coach. And he finally got to the point last tournament where he looks at me and it was like pain in his eyes. And he goes, "Coach, I got to tell you I disagree." And I tell you, I was so proud because I've been waiting for him because I can see in his eyes, he pretends that he agrees. But in a way, it's almost like lying to me, right? He trusts me, but when he gets to the point where he's trusting something that in his heart he knows he shouldn't do, then I'm leading him astray. And I was so happy. And he was right. He was half right. He was half right. He was right in his perspective, and he was right to tell me. And it was so awesome to watch him be able to challenge and be like, listen. And I watched I don't know how to describe it, of like when my kids want something and they do this, I watched that come out of his eyes, and I watched him sit a little straighter, and I watched him feel a relief of like, okay, coach, finally no. Now, mind you, I've been new, I already knew. But he was relieved to know that I know that he disagrees. And that's belonging in action. Being able to be honest, sincere, being able to disagree, being able to not be a part of the group and go against the grain. What you can do to make sure that people belong is be actively aggressive in your support. We all know passive-aggressive people. Think of the most passive-aggressive person in your mind right now. Yep. I know there's two people, you gotta pick. If you can't think of anyone, it might be you. That's okay. Thank you for being here. Basketball changes really fast. There's so many things that happen that are like, oh my God. Okay, on an average game, right? I will watch a sequence of events, and I watch a player get flipped out of their chair, a ball go off the back of somebody's head, two players on the same team that are our team running into each other, and it's just like, what is happening? And then someone will do the right thing. And I look down the bench, and if the bench is still sitting there, I start pacing. My coattails are flying, and I'm like, listen, so-and-so did all these things wrong. And the moment they do something right, we had better explode, or else they will never, ever do that right thing again. So I don't care how many things go wrong, but when the little thing starts to go right, we had better explode and cheer and make it known so that they can look over at the bench and go, okay, they saw me. They saw me do that one thing. And that encourages the next thing, right? That's reinforcing positive behavior, but it's important for building community as well. Because everyone knows when the community knows that they didn't do something right. And if we whisper the next accomplishment, it won't happen. And your whole team will break down. So I want to encourage you, from what I've learned, make sure you do those things. All right. I'm getting to the end. I know I hear the food over there. I'm gonna tell you to be careful be grateful for the negative things. I call my older sister all the time, and I don't know how on FaceTime, I'll pick up the phone and she'll be like, what's wrong? Now I have to be careful because she will go to any length for me, and that's not always a good thing. And recently, well, actually, my whole life I've always called her when things are just wild. But when things go wrong, I'll tell her. And then she always says the same thing at the end. Something great must be about to happen to you. Because I don't know what it is when things pile on. You have to know. And I want you to please believe me. I could sit and tell you my whole life story if you want. Something great is always about to happen when that breakdown is happening. Sometimes you're forced into a shift. Sometimes you're forced into something fantastic. Sometimes your sense of belonging is too big for the community that you're trying to belong to. And so please recognize those moments. Recognize when you are truly in a league of your own. You're in a mind of your own. And your beauty and your beautiful mind is not to be quantified. It's not to be questioned or extrapolated. It's supposed to be magnified by others. And when everything is said and done, if you're not sure what to do in order to foster community, just mind your own beautiful business and allow other people to do the same. That's the best you can do sometimes. I have many more things I could share with you all, but I decided I'd like to end it with a couple of last things. When I think about neurodivergence and I think about how to make community, the answer is it won't always work. Unless we choose. Your brilliance, I almost thought about not saying this, but your brilliance will feel like a cheat code to those who don't understand your process and covet your results. So as you journey, and if it doesn't work, keep going. If you're not understood, keep going. If you see someone who's an outlier, embrace them. If you see someone who just, everyone agrees. If everyone agrees that they're wrong, they're right about something. Find out why that person is pushing against the grain. Find out why you're being pushed against the grain. Because being neurodivergent and selectively tolerant of others is not nice. But being neurodivergent and selectively kind to yourself is not tolerant. So I thank you all for being here. And perfect time. Oh, that's great. That's it. Thank you.